Oh, let's go to Côte d'Ivoire. Let's talk about the Women's WAFU Cup. And that one will make you smile. Nigeria Super Falcons doing well, maintained their 100% record, won their third game today, defeated Togo 3-1. Well, it was a game of two sides. One had already qualified, one had already crashed out of the tournament. And Nigeria, some will tell us not to make much of this result, but the result is a result, and it makes you happy.
It makes you happy, really. And for a manager who is just taking over a new side, you want to get going. You need to get your players get on the right track and win games, build that confidence. And it was a hardly assembled side, largely very inexperienced players from the Falconets, way drafted in and all of that. Rashida Ajibade was a stand-up performer in the game against Senegal, scoring a hat-trick. And it's great to see the new manager come in and try to get the girls going. And I'm not reading too much into it because it's an assembled side. I think that when the Africa Cup of Nations comes around, the World Cup qualifiers come around, we might not necessarily be seeing this side, this crop of players play in that. But it's great to give them that experience, because I always say that it's important to get competitive experience. I mean, go out there and play with other nations, not just play with yourself, not just play qualifiers, but go out there and have a tournament feel. And it's great that we're doing with the Falconets. I mean, there's a silver lining to this side. And I think the new manager has found a way to be able to get to know the girls. I mean, know Nigerian football. I'm very sure he didn't drop that list to that tournament. I mean, the technical committee would have helped him. But it's great to see the Falcons doing well. 3 out of 3. I mean, for a Nigerian, you want to win every tournament.
Oh, yeah. Want to win every tournament. So Nigeria will be playing against Ghana in the semis. And in the other one, the Ivorians will also play against one of the other teams. Okay, that's it for you. Nigeria will take on Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire take on Senegal. All right, let's quickly move on. Still talking about women's football. Let's listen to some of the plans to make women's football in Nigeria better. Talking about partnership agreement, between the Women's Football League and La Liga, and the idea behind all of this, and the thing that is set to achieve this novel idea. Let's listen to Aisha Falode, what she has to say about this MoU with La Liga and how it will aid development.
You can imagine our league champions going to Spain to play the women league champion of the Spanish league, and for the women champions of the Spanish league to come to Nigeria and play. I mean, that is every player's dream. The women league in the La Liga enjoys the same kind of fan base as the men. That you play a league game, you have a full house watching a women's game in Spain. We want to know how they were able to do that. We want to learn from them branding opportunities. We want to learn how they were able to broker their own broadcast deal in order for their women's league to be on television.
All right, innovation coming into women's football in Nigeria. And when you hear all of this, it shows it can be done. It shows that you can bring people to the stadiums to see these games. If the quality is there, Nigerians appreciate quality. And that's what the Women's League Board is trying to do. And it's really heartwarming.
It's heartwarming. It's good. I mean, the only way to literally get it right is associating yourself with people who have gotten it right before, people who know how these things are done. And I mean, this partnership with the Spanish La Liga is wonderful, getting to them to come and show us how these things are done. I mean, it's not rocket science. We've talked about this time and time again, how to get partnership and sponsorship, rather. I mean, Aisha Falode said it quite brilliantly. We're trying to learn from them. We want to see how they do it. How did they get their games on television? How did they get sponsorship to run their league and all that? So it's wonderful. We want to see women's football on television. We want to see people go out there and watch women's football. And for you to be able to do this, you've got to be able to be marketable enough. We've talked about marketability too many times. I mean, you've got to show that excitement that brands can come and say, we can put money in this league because there's something we'll get in return. There's that mileage, the fans coming out at the stadium to watch women's football. There's no crowd violence, there's transparency, the officiating will be top notch, the football playing turfs will not be an eyesore. You know, just get everything in place. That, for me, is the way to get it done. And I mean, the Spanish league guys will really show us how to do it, but will we be transparent enough? That's a big question.
Yeah, that's a big question. Okay, let's move on the show. A lot has been said about the women, so let's talk about the guys. Now, let's spare a thought for the guys. I was just talking about the World Cup, and less than 4 months to go, and it's now that crucial period when we begin to X-ray our players. I wanted us to focus on some of the players out there in England, and they're going to be a huge percentage of the players that we're going to take to, and so if the boys in England are doing well, Super Eagles probably will be doing well. But you begin to look at our players now. We're going into March, few months away from the World Cup. You look at their form. How confident are you?
When you look at they play, sometimes you just hold your breath and say, please don't get injured. Yeah. Please don't get injured, because he's very committed. He's very physical. I mean, the guy's numbers is quite staggering. I mean, interceptions, blocks, and all of that. I think Didi quite easily is the most informed Super Eagles player currently in Europe, because when you look at the way he's played, he's been touted to moving to big clubs and all of that, but I think he's been absolutely outstanding. I've also been pleased with recently Kelechi Iheanacho getting a run in the Leicester side. He's had a very, very checkered season. Went from Man City to Leicester. Craig Shakespeare got fired, and things haven't really happened for him. And we would like to see him play more, because you do not want to go to the World Cup with players who are sitting on the bench. You do not want to go to the World Cup. The World Cup is a big deal. It's massive, massive deal. You cannot go to the World Cup with players who are sitting on the bench. So pleased with Wilfred Ndidi, pleased with Kelechi Iheanacho recently, and we hope that a few other players around the world will get into that form.
That's where I was going, actually. At this point, you struggle to see any new player that could break into this team, because if you're bringing in any player, it must be because he's better than the ones that we have.
Absolutely.
And to me, it looks like it's going to be very difficult to bring someone into this team at this moment. Someone who is not in this squad right now.
My challenge, my issue with our team is just to defensively. I know we'll talk about Leon Balogun, we've talked about Williams II. They're exciting, they're good. But I think that if any of those players get injured, we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. And also going forward, I think we also have issues in our centre forward position. We do not have a proper number 9. I know people like Adion Igalo, he's done well for me, but I feel we need someone with that upper body strength, someone who will give defenders a whole lot of trouble. I saw Brian Day over the weekend in playing for Malaga, scored a goal even though they lost quite unfortunately. I think we need someone, maybe a Brian Day would get into his side, but it will depend on what he's doing with Malaga. I mean, he has 5-6 months to show that, 4 months rather, to show what he can do.
All right. Okay. All right. We'll continue with our discussion on the Super Eagles and, of course, the UEFA Champions League when we return from this break. Join us again.